What's going on, New Canoe Nation? Welcome back to another Unlimited podcast here on Facebook and YouTube. Do me a favor, go down in that lower left-hand corner, smash that share button. Drop into the comments where you're tuning in from. We're here every Tuesday night, 7 Central, 8 Eastern, 5 o'clock out on the West Coast. Good to see everybody in the chat tonight. Rob Blackman in the house. What's up? Hope you're doing well. We got an epic guest tonight. I figured I'd change up my looks a little bit for you guys. Enough of that being silly stuff. But got a pretty cool guest in the house tonight, man. We got a young man straight from South Carolina. He's a young father. He's a fisherman. He's running some tournament series down there with the Palmetto State Kayak Anglers. I think I got that right. Let's see. Yeah, he's shaking his head a little bit. Yeah. So, not a ton of announcements this week, guys. Just always remember, if you miss part of the show, you come in late, you can always go back and watch on YouTube, Facebook, and any major podcast platform. As soon as the show's over, I upload it to all those podcast platforms. Apple, Stitcher, Google, Spotify. You know, we're trying to be Joe Rogan like here at New Canoe. So let's get our man of the hour in the house, Mr. Blaine Upton. What's up, brother?
What is going on, guys?
Did I throw you off a little bit with my goofy glasses and the
Yeah,
the
I
big
wasn't.
nose?
I was not at all ready for that. I was like, what has he got on his face?
We did a dude, it was a 3.5 hour podcast last night for Paddle and Fin. We had a birthday and it was like our 600th episode. So we were kind of being goofy in the house here in the studio last night, and I got stuff spread out all over the table here. So, but welcome to the show, man. We got quite a few people popping in. I know, I believe this is one of your good friends, right? Mr. Reese Melvin.
Oh yeah, man. That's one of my teammates with Team Paddle South. That's my boy right there. I'm trying to teach him how to catch some bass.
Oh, calling shots. I mean, I've been following Reese for a long time, man. He always seems like a good dude, presents himself well on the good old interwebs. He's just in the wrong boat, right?
Yeah, that's it. Dude, Reese is one of the nicest people I've ever met, man. He's a good friend of mine. So
Yeah. No, he seems like a really, really good dude, man. I think I've talked with him a couple times over the years, but well, welcome to the show, man. We're down in that southeast region tonight. You're on Team New Canoe. We always start, like how you got into fishing, kayak fishing, and all that good stuff, man.
all right. So way back in 1997 or 98.
Oh, you're
My
aging yourself now, bro.
my grandparents lived in Jacksonville, Florida. They had a pond in their backyard, and man, my first bass was a little over 5 pounds out of that pond, and I was 2.5 years old. So ever since then, addicted. I mean, strictly bass fishing. That's all I've really ever done, man. Grew up in Columbia area of South Carolina, the center part of the state, and there's a lot of lakes and rivers around here. So I always had water to fish, and so I took advantage of that. And so as far as kayak fishing, I fished my first bass boat tournament at the age of 9. Did that through the time I pretty much went to college. And once I got out of college, I'd sold my boat for funds and was looking for a way to get back into fishing. So my parents ended up buying me a Lifetime kayak.
Okay.
So I spent about 8 months in that, and then there was this little store right around the corner from my house called Paddle South Outfitters, and I was like, what is this? And I walk in there, and lo and behold, I saw my first New Canoe, and I was like,
Nice.
Dude, that's the boat I want to be in. But at the time I couldn't afford it, so I bought a Jackson Bite, and I spent a little bit of time in that. And before I took it out on the river, and it was just not the boat for me, so I took it and sold it and went back and found a Flint, and that was my first new canoe. Got in Flint, spent about a year fishing tournaments out of it, got on the team new canoe, got the Pursuit finally, and I spent a little bit of time in the Pursuit, and man, that's my boat.
Okay. All right. You're a Pursuit guy. I like it. I
Yep.
like it.
Oh yeah, big time Pursuit guy. Plastic bass boat, man.
Yeah, it's cool, man. Like I was in the Pursuit last year, Unlimited now, and definitely, dude, it's a quick little boat. Whether you're paddling, you got a motor, you're pedaling the pivot drive, any of that good stuff, man. It's a quick, slick little boat, and not only that, but you got a ton of space too.
The open deck is what sold me, man. That's really what sold me. And then I saw the first boat with the XI3 on it. I was like, oh, that's got to be mine. That was my next buy. So ever since, man, that's my setup is the Pursuit with the XI3, and I love every second of it. The fish is fantastic. It really does.
Right on, right on. Well, we already got a question in the chat for our guest here. If you guys have any questions for Blaine as we go through tonight and we're talking, feel free to drop them down in that chat, man. We'll get them answered up. Rob Blackman's asking, what's your biggest tournament win?
Depends if you mean kayak or bass boat tournament. Kayak
Give us
tournament
both,
win.
man. Give us both.
Okay.
Come on, puff
Yeah,
your shirt out a little bit, bro. Puff it out.
So I won a couple of high school events in high school, and that was all good and fine. Kayak events, man, I've got a lot of top 10s, a lot of top 5s, a couple of top 3s, but I've yet to pull my first big major kayak win.
Okay.
So
all right.
I'm in the hunt. It just always seems like, man, I got on. KBF Trail came to Lake Murray this year, and it's in my backyard. And it always seems like when you fish your home lake big tournament day, nothing can go right. And that's what happened for me. It just I got too much in my head. Continued on fishing the same spot, same water, fishing history. That's what I call it. And I mean that's where you can make some mistakes. Don't look out into finding the fish. You fish where you've caught them before, and
sure,
doesn't always work like that.
It's that mental game of fishing. I always like to say fishing is like 95% mental and 5% physical, man. And if you don't have that 95% tuned up and ready to rock, like that could make or break your day, your season, all that good stuff, man.
Yeah.
We got Garrett Pate in the chat. He says, how's the fishing in the Saluda River, if I'm pronouncing that right? Very interested in taking the trip.
So there's actually technically 3 different Saluda rivers. So you've got the lower Saluda below Lake Murray. You've got the upper Saluda that feeds Lake Murray and connects Lake Murray to Lake Greenwood, and it branches off into what they call the Little Saluda. All 3 are fantastic. I fish the lower Saluda a lot. I mean, it's known for striper. But
okay. All right.
everyone leaves the greenfish alone, and that tends to play into it a little bit. So a lot of my state challenge fish come out of the lower Saluda River.
Right on. All right. Giving some juice here on the Unlimited podcast.
I don't mind.
I like it. Now you're going to have some company, bro.
That's fine. 60-degree water year round might keep them away.
There you go. Larry Lickham's in the chat. What's your advice for a 300-pounder getting in a kayak?
Man, put your butt in as many boats as you can. But I'll tell you, New Canoe keeps the big guys in mind. That F12, dude, that thing is stable as a rock. I mean, it is. And I mean, I'm 6'4", 210, 215. And I mean, I can walk around the F12 like a squirrel. I mean, I really can. I run all over the thing. So, telling you, that's.
I'm 6'4", about 250, and I could say the same thing. Like I call the F12 the floating dock. It's like standing on a pier, man. It's sweet, definitely sweet.
No doubt.
Heck yeah. Garrett Pate says, nice. We need to link up. And Reese says there's no greenfish down there, so he's mad that you gave away his spot, bro.
It's okay. Reese, I'll show him more spots. It'll be all right.
This is a great question, man. You're a big tournament guy. Jace Knight is asking, so I know it gets tough at 2:00 with an hour or two left of fishing. What do you do in that situation?
There's two schools of thought. So when you get 2:00, you're basically at the hottest point of the day. Your sun's going to be about, the highest it's going to be. Those fish are going to either do one of two things. They're going to pull it. Well, they're always going to pull the structure. So they're either going to pull offshore or they're going to pull up into shade. I don't like fishing deep personally. I'm a big shallow water fisherman, so I'm going straight for obvious cover with shade, fishing finesse tactics. That's going to be the way to do it.
You need to up your game, bro. Deep is where it's at.
Oh, man, there's just something about staring at a screen all day that I can't do.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. What you just said, man. And 9 times out of 10, I'm probably going looking for that deeper bite. But I'll look for it. Like if you got a nice shaded bank and some weeds or a weed line or something, man, I'm all about that. I'm all about
some
that.
money right there.
Yeah, buddy. It's like I always say, man. It takes all it takes is 5 fish, 5 minutes to catch those fish and take pictures, man. And it can happen.
Oh, yeah.
That 5 minutes can take place at any part throughout your tournament,
Yeah. And that's why that 2:00 point, Carl, that's where like you were saying, that mental versus physical game, man. You'll be in your head at 2:00 not thinking you got it, but it takes 5 casts. That's all it really takes.
Yeah, I've been guilty of packing up and heading home early in those situations instead of sticking it out and, just fighting through it, and it's
Dude,
yeah,
man.
you can't give up. You can't give up.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Jay said, awesome. He asked that question. And then Rob Blackman, he says, has anyone tried Panoptix on a new canoe? If so, how does it work?
I have not done the live scope thing. I run a Helix 7 mega side imaging. I've seen a couple people with some PVC rigs for it that are really cool, but I haven't personally done it myself yet.
Romel, aka the Wizard, out on the West Coast. I know he's rigged up quite a few new canoes with the Panoptix and the live scope and all that good stuff. And he's got some interesting ways he's rigged those up for sure.
Yeah.
I would recommend going and checking out Romel. Man, I always butcher his last name. I believe it's Labrador. I believe. I might be wrong. But check out Romel or hit him up if you're looking to rig your boat out with that. He could definitely help out for sure. So, but you've kind of, continuing on with the tournament fishing, man, you've kind of stepped up a little bit and you're helping run your local kayak trail there. Palmetto State Kayak Anglers, man. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so Palmetto State, we're a small group of guys. We get together pretty much all over the state of South Carolina. We run, I do believe it's 10 events a year. But, man, some of the best people, and, I mean, dude, we have some absolute hammers that fish in our group. And, I mean, it's just awesome to get together and put your skill up against these guys. And we call ourselves a learning club. That's what we do. I mean, we're always trying to get people into the sport. I mean, we run a little bit different. We run KBF rules minus we run an 8-inch minimum and a 3-fish limit just as, you get that mentality. Anybody can go out there and catch 3 fish. So
Sure.
It helps turnouts, and it helps some of these guys score some AOY points and helps them, get into the sport. I mean, that's all we're really out here to do is to, get people into it. And I mean, I love sharing my passion with it. That's one of the things I've always loved is just getting people hyped up about kayak fishing, because there's a certain element that's not in, fishing out of a regular boat. That tangle, man, it's so much fun.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's cool to see guys develop at that lower level and then, kind of work their way up, start fishing some national events and things like that, man. It's super cool. I've always heard about your guys' club, and I've always, just been interested more in it. What are your guys' tournaments kind of average, as far as participants?
Yeah, right now, I mean, this year we've averaged high 30s, low 40s in tournament.
Okay.
And I mean, makes for a pretty good first place finish. I mean, dude, carrying home about $1,000. I mean, it's pretty nice.
Right on. Right on. We got a question in the chat from Rex Harness, I believe that is.
That's my
Dad's in the chat. There you go. He's putting you on blast, brother. He says, how was fishing the lakes in Florida different than the lakes in South Carolina, and how long have you been a closet Tennessee football fan?
he's gunning for me right now. I'm not a fan, so that's for me. But
I mean, down south, you guys take football serious, man. That could get you shot. What are you doing, Dad?
Yeah. No, it's all in fun, good and fun. But the lakes in Florida, as far as that goes, so I got the opportunity to go out there and fish with a guy. His name's Justin, and he showed me how to do it. We spent all day, in South Carolina. I've got some grass on Santee Cooper, but I don't have grass like they've got in Florida.
Yeah.
And he taught me basically, y'all up there probably call it punching. We call it flipping. He taught me how to flip grass mats. And we went down there and sacked a 31-pound sack the first day and a 26-pound sack the second day. And I'll tell you,
Jesus,
I am addicted to flipping at this point. And I'll tell you, the way you go about it and the way you angle the boat and everything like that, I mean, it's just so different from what I do here. And learning something new and catching 6 and 7 pounders while you're doing it.
I'm down to go learn. Yeah. Where do I sign up?
It's some fun stuff. You got to make a trip down here, man. I'm telling you.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Very cool. Larry Lickham's asks, how safe is kayak tournament fishing compared to bass boat tournament fishing? I'll let you go first, and then I'll throw in my 2 cents, man.
Yeah, there's a couple of schools of thought here. I mean, man, being on the lake with other boats can be dangerous no matter what vessel you're in, and it all comes down to your knowledge and experience on a body of water and knowing when you're in a good and bad situation. I mean, it's safe, don't get me wrong. I mean, but there's limits to everything, and you just have to know your surroundings. You got to keep your head on swivel at all times.
Yeah, totally agree with that, man. We had an instance here, I believe it was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. Really well-known lake in southern Illinois, Lake Newton Lake. And it was a big, they call it the Crossroads Kayak Classic. And there's like 10 clubs. They send their top 5 in AOI to battle it out, for bragging rights, and then they get to host whoever wins gets to host the next year. And this poor kid, man, who I've become very good friends with now because of this instance. But, this lake had a 25 horsepower limit, and which means most of those boats don't get on plane. They're cruising through the water like this. And the guy that was driving a boat, his girlfriend was sitting in front of him. He couldn't see well. Kayaker was sitting there fishing a point, and this guy turned last second to coming into the cove off the point he was fishing, and the kayaker was paying attention, and thank God he did, and he jumped out of his kayak at the last second. And this is a very rare instance. Like, this doesn't happen all the time, but this goes to what Blaine was talking about. You got to keep your head on a swivel, man. You got to be paying attention. You sit lower in the water, things like that. And, the guy stopped after he ran over his boat. He was in one of those Pelican Catch 130s. They flipped his boat over, and he was able to salvage some of his gear, lost all his rods, lost his eyeglasses, lost his cell phone, but he was alive. He wasn't injured and all that good stuff. And here's a testament to the kayak fishing community. Came to check in, first guy in line, because I was helping judge fish. Guy brought a little cardboard box, and he said, hey, just ask guys if they got a couple spare bucks. put it in the box for Brock, this kid that was fishing. By the end of the night, the kid had his phone, enough money for his phone and his eyeglasses to be replaced. There was a couple rods that were donated to the tournament that were being given away. He went home with 4 brand new Kistler rods, more tackle. He probably could open a tackle shop after all the tackle he got. I think he got 2 reels donated to him from other anglers. And, I wasn't fishing the tournament, so I told it was a 2-day tournament. This happened on day 1. And I was like, dude, just stick around, use my boat, use my rods. I got enough gear in this truck to get you through. Here's a GoPro to take your photos and stuff like that, man. And the kids stuck it out, had a blast. And so ever since then, though, the kid has had like a golden horseshoe up, where. And like every giveaway online through like fishing companies or tackle companies, the kid wins. I swear to God. Yeah. For the past 2 years, the kid's going to open a bait shop. I tell you what. But, that's the thing, whereas bass boats are dangerous too. One guy that I know, he was fishing at the collegiate level, and it was somewhere down in your area. I think it might've been, Pickwick or Smith Lake or something like that. He was fishing a college tournament. They're ripping across the water, switching spots, and, they still don't know what it was, but they assume it was a floating log. They hit it doing like 60. Motor ripped off the boat. His co-angler went skipping across the water. He ended up in the water, So now he no longer fishes big boat bass tournaments, and he fishes out of a kayak, man. Like it really changed his life and in the way he viewed that stuff. So it's safe as long as you're safe, as long as you take it for granted and play it safe. So yeah, man. So what's your go-to like in South Carolina, man? You mentioned stripers earlier. You did mention you're a big bass fisherman, but if you're not bass fishing, what are you targeting?
So if I'm not bass fishing, that's a weird thing to think of. Man, honestly, probably striper. I mean, it's our state fish. It's what we're known for. Lake Murray, they stock 1 million of them a year in that place. The lower Saluda River's great for striper. I mean, I know a couple people who've topped some over 40 inches out of the rivers and out of the lake. And I mean, they're big. And man, my favorite thing is to catch them on top water. They hit a top water with every ounce they have in their body. I mean, they cannonball it. And that's addicting.
That's cool. What are you throwing to get them? Like buzz baits, whopper ploppers?
Walking baits, man. Big ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like big Strike King sexy dogs. That's my go-to. They have we have blueback herring in our lakes, so they have a blueback herring color that they have custom made, and it's good. It's really good.
That sounds like a good time right there.
Yeah, it is.
You do any coastal fishing since you're kind of close to the coast there, man?
I do occasionally. I don't mind catching redfish, and that's essentially bass fishing in the salt water. So I don't mind redfish. I've caught a lot of trout. Doing stuff like that. I've never really been offshore that much. I've been one time, but just kind of I enjoy bass fishing, man. It's my bread and butter.
Right on. I dig it. I know there was one guy in here. He was talking about your guys' club. He says, I'll testify to that. I'm new to the group this year, and they are super to get to know. So that's cool, man. James O'Neill is asking, are you from around the same area as Brian Latimer? I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina.
I am probably 2 hours from Brian Latimer. He's up near Lake Hartwell, up near like Clemson, and the top left-hand corner of the triangle that is South Carolina. I am dead in the center. So, I've passed him on the road a couple of times, but I've never gotten to meet the guy. Anthony Gagliardi's a local though. He's from the same town just about that I am. He's a super nice dude.
Right on. Right on, man. Rubbing elbows with the big wigs. That's how you get it done.
Yeah, they there's a lot of them around here, so every now and again you'll run into somebody, and it's cool because across the whole, especially kayak fishing, but across the whole fishing industry, man, we all have something in common. I find that no matter who you talk to, if you and they are both about fishing, you guys will spend hours talking to each other because you've got so much to talk about. I mean,
Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah.
there's a camaraderie.
Jace Knight in the chat says, if you were new and in the market for a new yak, what's your recommendations?
So it depends on really what you're going to use it for. If you're going for the river, and it depends on your size and weight. Like I said, my recommendation to everybody I talk to is demo as many boats as you possibly can. I mean, across the entire New Canoe brand, every one of our boats is not necessarily made for something different, but has certain boxes it checks. And I'm telling you, the hardest part's picking a river boat, because you've got the Flint, the F10, and the Pursuit works great in the river. The F12 works great in the river, and I've heard the Unlimited is a fantastic river boat, even though I haven't gotten to sit in an Unlimited yet, and I'm kind of sad about it. But
Take a drive up here, man. I'll take care of that for you.
yeah. I fish for Paddle South Outfitters, and I'm on their shop team. And every time we've gotten an Unlimited in, it's been pretty much pre-sold or is sold as soon as it got there. So
yep,
it's a hot commodity for sure.
Yeah, buddy. I might auction mine off. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. My DMs are going to blow up here in about 30 seconds. But I completely agree with that, man. It's in demo is like totally right. I totally agree with that. But like you stated, like certain boats are for certain situations, like, I mean, me personally, if I'm floating a skinny river, I'm grabbing a Flint. If I'm, going and floating big water, I'm grabbing Unlimited or a Pursuit, I know it's weird, man. I've been having this conversation with guys as we've been doing these shows. Like, it seems like the F10 is like a regional boat, but a lot of like faster moving water, faster moving rivers. A lot of guys like that F10,
Well, actually, around here, it's not a huge popular seller. I mean, I know Paddle South has, they've sold a few, but it's definitely not been their highest selling boat. And
Right.
I've gotten chance to see it in action, and put my butt in it for a few minutes, and I'll tell you, like, it's a good riverboat. It really is. I'm really surprised. But you look over in Georgia, I think you were with Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie last week. Yeah.
F10 was, is the boat around here, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. He's probably 3.5 hours for me.
Yeah.
It's that different.
Yeah, he says he sets his personal boat. He'll set it up in his shop there with the EPS system, and he's like, it sells itself, man. Like, all these guys come into the shop and they see it and they're just like, I want that. Which I get it, man. I know my team director up here in the Great Lakes region, Matt Gibson, he loves an F10 in the river, but he's telling me the same thing. Like, he's really liking using his Unlimited in the river.
Yeah. See, my whole thing with the river fishing, man, my Flint's the way to go. I mean, if I can pick that thing up and throw it on my shoulder and walk it down to the riverbank, and I fish. We do a lot of river smallmouth fishing around here, which I really think we've got one of the best smallmouth fisheries in the southeast. But I'm not gonna. Yeah, I know.
Those are fighting words, bro. You just started a war.
I know. But it's really good. And we have the Broad River that runs from North Carolina to basically the coast, and it has some monsters in it. It does.
That's cool, man.
The Flint for fishing those rivers is unbeatable to me, just because I have to walk so far to boat ramps, towing a boat or dragging one on a cart. It's not like I've got my Pursuit on my trailer where I can dump it into the river like that.
Yeah, it's tough being spoiled backing down into the river, and launching your cute little boat. No, I'm just kidding, man.
I love doing that, especially with the XI. You drop it in, throw that thing in spot lock right off the end of the ramp, and drive it to the dock, and everybody's jaw drops.
Yeah, right. I forget who I saw do that first. I think it might have been a video that Brundle posted up. Derek Brundle.
Doing it first, and Brandon, it had to have been Brundle.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was, man. He was just like, yeah, park my boat over there. Come here, boat, with his little remote, just waiting for it to come over, hopped in and took off,
Yeah, it's definitely a good selling point right there.
Heck yeah, man. I mean, it's like those bass boat commercials when those all first came out, you'd see the commercial where the guy backs his boat in, goes and parks his truck, comes down to the dock, drives his boat over, hops on, and takes off, man. So super cool, man. Well, we're winding down. Every guest, I ask this question. You're in a Frontier 12. It's a rigged up tandem. You can fish with anyone, dead or alive, for a day. Who's it going to be?
Dead or alive for a day? I'm going to have to go. God, this is a hard question. I'm going to have to go. Man, so I hear all these stories about my great grandma and how she had a pontoon. She fished every day until she was, 80 something years old whenever she passed. And man, I heard it was an absolute favorite thing. And I would just love to experience that one time just because, she passed when I was fairly young, never really got that experience. So yeah, probably my great grandma.
That's cool, man. I dig that.
She used to take nuns on a pontoon boat. It was the most bizarre thing.
She would what now?
She had a group of nuns she was friends with, and they would come over and all go fishing on her boat. That was sight rolling out of the cove.
I want to hang out with great grandma now. That's who I would pick. That is awesome, man. Heck yeah. That's sweet, man. It's cool. Like we get a lot of I'd fish with my dad, or I'd fish with my grandpa and things like that. This is the first grandma, so I like it.
Had to be different.
That's cool, man. Heck yeah. Well, I'll give you the floor, man. Any final thoughts, things you want to say? Shout out your social media where people can go and follow you, where they could find out more information. It looked like we had a couple folks in here from North Carolina, South Carolina. If they want to fish the Palmetto State Anglers, how do they find info on that and all that good stuff, man?
So you can find Palmetto State Kayak Bass Fishing on Facebook. We have a page. It stays up to date. Social media, Blaine Upton Kayak Fishing. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Shout out wise, I just want to thank everybody that makes what I do possible, man. I mean, going to fish tournaments a couple times a month is a big feat in itself, especially with a young daughter. So big shout out to my wife for helping me with that. Big thanks to Paddle South Outfitters for helping me get where I've got. New Canoe, Strike King and Lose. I want to thank all those guys over there. And Bending Branches. They've been an awesome team to be a part of too. So everybody that's helped support my dream here, I just want to say thank you.
Heck yeah, man. Right on. Well, thank you very much. I know you said your daughter's birthday's coming up. She's going to be 1 year old. Happy birthday.
Yep.
Blaine was telling me before we started, he's still trying to figure out how to strap her into the kayak. So
yeah, I'm already starting to think about what kind of rods to buy her and everything,
Dude, girl, it's got to be a Barbie rod, man. First rod, Barbie rod.
Yeah,
Barbie rod.
She can pick whatever she wants. That's how it's gonna be. That's how her whole life's been so far. So yeah, she's gonna get whatever she wants.
There you go, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. Very cool, man. Well, there you have it, boys and girls. Mr. Blaine Upton, straight out of South Carolina. Go give him a follow on all the social medias. And we got one question coming in real quick. What is your top 5 fishing clubs in South Carolina?
Oh, so top 5 fishing clubs in South Carolina. I mean, man, we've got quite a few of them around. We've got us. We've got Queen City that comes in and out of South Carolina. Those are some good guys over there. PD Kayak Anglers, Santee Monster Kayak Angler. They only fish Santee, and that's a fun lake to fish. So, and then I think that's pretty much it that we have in around. CKA comes around every now and again. That's Carolina Kayak Anglers, and I know that's Henry. I'm gonna butcher his last name. Begian. He's with KBF. But he fishes in there. So that's
Right on. Sweet. Very cool, man. Professor's in the house. He says, "Evening, gentlemen."
What's going on, Romel?
There we go.
You guys have been helpful.
Well, thank you so much, man, for taking time away from the family tonight to sit down and chat. For all you that tuned in this evening, don't forget, if you missed part of the show, you can go back, watch on the Facebook page, on the YouTube channel, or check it out on any major podcast platform. Just search New Canoes Unlimited. It'll pop right up. You'll see the green and white logo. And yeah, catch up on all the episodes. This was episode 21, I believe. 22. My fault. We're crushing it, boys and girls. We're here every Thursday night, 7 Central, 8 Eastern, 5 o'clock out on the West Coast. And till next time, boys and girls, tight lines, smooth paddling. Peace.